Did you know only 3% of Americans wait until they're married to have sex? Of the other 97% who did not wait until marriage, 2/3 of them say that they regretted it. Dating relationships are some of the most rewarding and beneficial relationships that we can have. They can lead us to something very special and happiness in our lives. The thing is, relationships have to be done correctly. They have to be guarded. The most important thing is we have to guard our heart. A relationship can be a tremendous blessing or detrimental. People in our culture today take dating relationships way too lightly.
Contrary to what TV, movies, and the rest of society has to say, it is not okay to have sex outside of marriage. This is in no way an attempt to guilt or shame anyone, but we all have to stop treating sex as a game and pretending that is acceptable behavior. Beyond the physical risk that everyone has heard time and time again, there are emotional consequences that will inevitably come from sex outside of marriage.
You may have trouble trusting people because you have let a piece of yourself go.
Sex is not only a physical act, your heart and emotions are involved. It creates an emotional bond between two people. It can cause trouble in future relationships because you have a bond with others you have been involved with sexually.
Sex is all-consuming, and if you have it outside of marriage, it becomes the main component of that relationship. Oftentimes, people's feelings begin to change and they drift apart because there is no relationship. It becomes only about sex.
Once the foundation of the relationship becomes based on sex, it creates insecurities and fear, which often leads to the end of the relationship.
Remember, just because you might have already had sex, it doesn't mean that you can't start practicing abstinence now and begin to see the positive results. In a study done by Harvard University, the overwhelming majority of people who began practicing abstinence said that their relationships, both with friends and family, in addition to their boyfriend or girlfriend, grew stronger.
So now we want to introduce you to a couple who is in their first year of marriage, Austin and Lauren. Thank you guys for being here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. So, will you guys tell us how you met and how you became engaged and kind of a little bit about your story?
Yeah, we actually met. I moved to Amarillo, Texas to be part of a church, to work on staff there, and just through some relationships with people that I was around, I heard about Lauren, and from hearing about her, I was just kind of at first intrigued a little bit. Who is this girl? Why is she being talked about? And because of that, I kind of sought out through some of my friends who she was. Because at that time, she was in college at Baylor University, so I didn't really see her. I just heard about her. And so it was kind of a slow process at first, once I heard about her before I actually started pursuing her.
Yeah, but it was fast for me because once I realized he was pursuing me, we went on a date and he kind of said, "Hey, I'm serious about you," which was something I'd never experienced before. So he was super intentional. And we dated for about a year, long distance, and then he proposed.
Yeah, dated a year, proposed. We were engaged for 6 months, and then we got married. Yeah.
So before you guys were dating, what were something that you were looking for in a spouse, and did you find that in each other?
Yeah,
That's a great question.
yeah. Kind of, most people kind of go into dating relationships with this long list of qualities and attributes about a person that they like. But God kind of shattered that for me. So I was looking more towards, do we believe the same? Do we have the same beliefs? And are we going to live out that every single day? So I really, really saw that in Austin. And what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree on the level of it's easy to make lists, but you have to get down to what really matters.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say it was great to find somebody that I was attracted to, which that is always helpful. But what matters the most is who they are. And for me, is the person I'm going to marry, are they going to be a person who really knows who they are, confident in their ability, so that we both can be a whole person and then be united as one.
Yeah.
But I really cared about what they believed, just as you were saying. I care about what they believe, what they live for. And then I look to that to see, because who they are will be what they end up doing and become as well. And so I don't want to jump into something that's very surface level. So to me, it was all about, who is this girl? And what helped was getting to know people that knew her. And but yeah, it's okay to have a couple of particulars, but at the same time, it's all about who is this person, who they want to become, and then choosing to say, this is someone that I want to be with. Yeah.
Awesome. So I don't know if prior that y'all had serious relationships or not, but do you think y'all's dating relationship was different than maybe some of the other relationships that you had in the past?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of learned a lot through other relationships, and I never got sexual in any relationships. Never kind of broke the boundaries of having sex, but I still learned a lot because when I was younger, I didn't go into relationships the same way I went into the relationship with Lauren. I didn't really think about who is this person. I just really thought you're attractive and we should hang out sometime. And so it was very about me. It was all about me in relationships up until now. And once I kind of valued more of who I was, it helped me know that I even deserve someone at a certain level and who value themselves as well. And so it changed how I approached the relationship and even when I was looking to get out of the relationship.
Yeah. For me, it was just amazing to see somebody so intentional. The relationship that I had before Austin was superficial. I mean, we just basically wanted to date to like the banquets and the proms and stuff like that. But with Austin, it was dramatically different. Like he came into that telling me exactly what his intentions were. Everything was clear and honest, and it was just super refreshing. And he pursued me like crazy. And it's nice to be pursued. It really is. So.
It wasn't a game this time.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it wasn't a game. It was your heart matters, my heart matters. So let's communicate clearly.
Yeah.
So that we know what we're trying to get out of this. So that we don't. It's not wasting time, but it's just going in the wrong direction. And so that's what we were focused on in this relationship, and it worked out.
It did.
Yeah.
So why was it important for you guys to save sex until marriage?
Yeah. It was very important to me. I was raised knowing that sex is meant to be something that you only have between married couples. I also believe for myself. I've had a lot of friends that that's how their relationships began and ended. Was sexual relationships. And so I really wanted to know that when I get married, I'm able to give my spouse my whole heart, not pieces, not broken parts of it, but my whole heart. And the only way I knew I could give them my whole heart was to save what was intended for marriage, keep it holy, keep it in marriage, because you don't get to know someone through sex. You get to know someone by being around them, knowing who they like, talking to their friends, spending time with them, and everything else. That sex is actually the addition and the multiplication of what you already know in a safe environment, which is marriage.
Yeah.
And up until marriage, I just knew it's all selfish.
Yeah.
It's all selfish, and I was not willing to risk a wonderful person for my selfishness.
Yeah. And I would say for me, it was more of I made this commitment to myself and to what I believed that I was going to save myself until marriage. And I'd always learned, and I had seen it, I saw it in friends. When someone has sex with somebody, it doesn't just happen and it's over. And you guys kind of talk about this. It's a part of their heart is chipped away, and you're connected from that moment on. And I didn't want my heart to just be chipped away and then go into a marriage relationship not having my full heart intact. And unfortunately, because I saw that happen to people and saw their pain and hardship, I learned from that. And I made the decision and I stuck to it, and I'm really thankful I did.
So can we talk a little bit about boundaries that y'all set in your relationship? And we've talked about how Austin pursued you a lot, like with his whole heart. And can you talk a little bit about like a healthy way to pursue someone?
Yeah, boundaries are very important. I mean, I think I would say a boundary off the top is just being able to communicate. If you don't know how to tell someone what you believe, what you stand for, who you are, you probably don't need to be in a relationship yet anyway. It's important to communicate. And so going into pursuing her, I think the best pursuit is just communicating. Hey, this is my intentions. Hey, would you like to go on a date with me? Here's why I want to take you on a date. I'm not a crazy guy. I do think you're attractive, but my intentions are to take care of you and then and eventually marry you. And so I was very upfront about hey, I want to get married. So if we're going to get married, then let's not act married and play married. Let's date so that when we are married, we can do it the right way.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of boundaries I think starts with communication, but then I would say even when you communicate, you don't just talk the first time before you date. Here's what we want to do. Here's what I believe. I want to stop. I don't want to have sex until marriage. You actually have to communicate regularly.
Yeah.
Regularly, because it just works that way.
Yeah.
I would say communication. I would also say you have to plan physical boundaries.
Yeah.
We are physical beings, and we're made to be attracted to the opposite sex, and so you have to create physical boundaries. So we kind of made some not rules, but here's our standards.
Yeah.
In order, we value each other, we value ourselves, so therefore we're going to set standards so that we can continue to uphold these values.
Yeah.
And so, you want to share some of those?
Yeah, we just basically said we're going to try to be around people as much as we possibly can. We're not going to compromise or tempt ourselves by being alone a lot. And we stayed really busy. We said we're going to try to have activities so that our mind is not on that and our mind's on mutually something else.
Yes.
So we trained for a half marathon while we were dating, and that kept us really busy.
Yeah.
We were so open and honest about that, and that was so beneficial. But Austin set that tone in his pursuit of me. He set the tone of open communication, and we're going to be really intentional. So it made it really easy for us just to say, hey, like, this is what I believe, and this is what we're going to stick to, and we're going to hold each other accountable by talking about that frequently.
Yeah, and I would add to that as well. You have to have some people other than yourselves that you're telling that have the same standards you have, and also keep you kind of accountable in a way. I didn't even pursue her or talk to her without talking to my friends first, or someone that was mentoring me. They kind of gave me the green light before I ever did, because I'm dumb alone. I make mistakes alone, and I need other people to help. And so I pursued them and said, hey, thinking about pursuing this girl, what do you think? And they're like, yes, hey, what's your boundaries before you even go in? So they actually if you don't know how to set boundaries, there are people who do.
Yeah.
And so just getting yourself around people that do, you don't have to know it all. You need other people who are wise and know how to help you through it, yeah.
So all in all, would you say that it was worth it to put boundaries in a relationship and to wait until marriage to have sex?
Absolutely, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. Because in my own experience, no one knows me how Austin knows me. And that's so safe, that's so secure. I don't feel jealous. I don't feel like I have to compare myself. I don't have thoughts in the back of my head thinking, like, what does he think about me? Because I know it's just him and I. And we're the only people that have that relationship with each other.
Yeah.
So it just cuts down on a lot of pain and heartache. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that now what we experience is freedom.
Yeah.
And if we were to try to have sex before we got married, it almost is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like you're in prison. I'm kind of feel like I have to be stuck to you. You have to be stuck to me. Rather than just saying, like, you know what, we're going to create some boundaries so when we get locked in prison, so when we get married, we can enjoy the freedom of being married and doing married things. And yeah, it's so worth it. So worth it. It was meant to be enjoyed and fun in the right season in marriage. So
many benefits that come with it. And that's how it's intended.
yeah.
Abstinence offers 100% protection against STDs and pregnancy. But guys, what we want you to get out of this is that we want you to protect your heart. We've gone over the dangers of sexual relationships outside of marriage, but the biggest danger is the damage you can do to your heart.
Let's go back to the statistic at the beginning. Only 3% of Americans wait to have sex until they're married. And honestly, guys, that is unacceptable. And I know in each one of your hearts you want to make a mark on this world, and being a part of that 97% is not going to make a mark on anything. So be different. Take a stand. And if you've already participated in sexual relationship, then it's never too late to step out of that and take a stand to live a life of abstinence. There is always redemption if we turn away from our past and take a stand for the future. There is no act unforgivable. Remember, all it takes is one decision, the decision to go against the lie. My name is Jake.
And I'm Tara. You're called to greatness, so reach for it.